Welcome back. After 18 long months, it's finally time to take this vlog international. In this episode, we head off on our first post-pandemic visit to the United States. So join us as we explore Boston by land and by sea. Welcome to The Right Life. We're Catherine and Edward, a London-based couple that loves to travel. Due to COVID, we spent the last couple of years traveling around England, and it's been a blast. However, now with the world opening up, it's time to take this show international. For the first time in a long time, we headed off to Heathrow Airport. We were equal parts nervous and excited, and I was over the moon knowing that it wouldn't be long until I'd see my family in person.
It will be for all sea gates.
Still creepy. Almost there.
We're in Boston.
How's the temperature?
Sweating like a Grand National winner.
Our old friend Jetlag had us out and about pretty early, and after wandering some very quiet streets, we found Quincy Market, which was built in 1824.
Paul Revere, is he famous for something, is he?
Maybe.
He's an alcoholic. Isn't he? When he good with silver or something, isn't he? What else is he famous for? That's a big joke. Why does everyone laugh at me when I say that?
To kick off our sightseeing tour, we visited the Old North Church, best known for being related to Paul Revere's Midnight Ride. The church was beautiful in its simplicity. What stood out the most for me was that there are 4 angels surrounding the organ that had been donated by Captain Thomas Grouchy in 1746. He was a privateer and had captured or stolen them, depending on how you want to look at it, from a French ship headed to Quebec.
Social distancing cues.
We are right below the sanctuary. Now cemented over tomb that has a placard that says Major John Pitcairn. And he was actually a major in the British Army. He fought in the Battle of Bunker Hill, where he was injured and brought back to Old North Church, which at the time had been turned into a field hospital for Army officers of both sides of that conflict. He ended up dying here and was eventually laid to rest down in our crypt. Although we talk a great deal about Paul Revere this and William Dawes that, this congregation is actually fairly evenly divided among patriots and loyalists, and in fact, people who are fairly neutral about the whole affair. Pitcairn helps us remember that things were a lot more complex here than just the Sons of Liberty led us to believe.
Right, so we're at the world famous, is it South Street Diner? Just had a lovely breakfast. Lobster Benedict with hash browns or whatever it was. And now we've just come outside and the remnants of the hurricane are finally hit. It should not be news to us because we've been watching it. Some weather forecaster pointing at it on the TV for the last 40 minutes while we've been eating, but nevertheless. Anyway, what did you think of your breakfast?
My lobster Benedict was absolutely amazing. It was a lot of lobster, wasn't it?
It was a lot of lobster.
It was really nice.
Yeah. Jeez, the sweat.
Once the rain had calmed down, we headed to the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum, which had been on my to-visit list for decades. Most people probably know this museum because of the 1990 robbery, where 13 of the museum's works were stolen. This included paintings by Vermeer and Rembrandt. Despite a monumental effort, the crime remains unsolved and none of the objects have been recovered. The frames the paintings were cut from are still hanging empty in the galleries. As interesting as the robbery was, I was here for Isabella Stewart Gardner herself. She was the first woman in America to build her own museum collection. She traveled the world looking for pieces that spoke to her, and then designed not just the building, but where each item should live in perpetuity. The building was constructed to look like a Venetian palace with a courtyard that is overflowing with flowers at its center. The art is displayed mostly without labels or descriptions, as it would be in a home. It's like a jumble of eclectic beauty that works perfectly in its disorganization.
There'll be an angel there when John the Baptist baptised Jesus.
What's this one?
That's the Archangel Gabriel telling Mary that she's pregnant.
And who lost their head?
Alright.
We just spent about an hour or so in the Isabella Gardner Museum. It was awesome. Edward was bored.
Just across the museum, we found the Black Bay Fens. This urban parkland is known for having the last remaining World War II victory gardens.
Listen to all the insects, man.
Crazy. How sweaty am I?
Pretty, yeah. At least they're using the crossing.
Yeah, they are using the crossing. Clever birds.
It's just amazing what they do. Look at how slow they go. Like, I don't care, you can wait.
It's time to show Edward where it all started. So we've come to Bunker Hill.
This battle, which took place on 17th June 1775, saw the British gain territory, but at a massive loss of life. As the Navy Yard was closed and we wouldn't be able to see old iron sides, we decided that to better understand the naval history of Boston, we should join a boat tour. Somehow London's infamous fog found us and the tour was almost a total whiteout.
The fort you see now, that is Fort Independence, was commissioned by President John Adams to be built. My favorite Castle Island story, though, involves a duel that took place out on here. Captain Green and Lieutenant Massey were having a game of cards, having a couple drinks. Got into an argument, and Green accused Massey of cheating, so they took it outside. Captain Green stabbed and killed Lieutenant Massey. Now Massey was adored by all of the men at the base, so they decided to avenge him by getting Captain Green very, very drunk, taking him to the basement of the fort, chaining him to a wall, sealing him up inside, and leaving him for dead. Now, a handful of years later, a young private would be stationed at the fort, going under the alias of Edgar Perry, who was escaping some gambling debts. So he's made his way up to Boston, he's at the fort. His real name was Edgar Allan Poe, and if you know anything about him, you may know a short story called The Cask of Amontillado that he wrote about a man chained to a wall, sealed up inside, and left for dead. So that is where the inspiration for that came from. The third layer of the story, the full circle moment, is that in 1905, when they were renovating their fort, in the basement they found a crumbling wall leading to a vault they didn't know was there. They took down the remainder of the wall, went inside to find a skeleton in soldier's clothing chained to the wall within. So Bunker Hill and Breed's Hill, they were neighborhood landmarks. Each was owned by the Bunker and Breed family respectively. And the British didn't care what the neighborhood landmarks were, so when they mapped it, they accidentally flipped the two. The colonists just wanted to fortify the closest hill to the harbor and to the city, so they fortified Breed's Hill, but on the map, it said Bunker Hill. So that is how they owned the wrong hill.
Thank you for joining us on our first post-pandemic trip to the States. It's been a bit scary, but also a whole lot of fun. If you enjoy this adventure, please like, subscribe, and leave us a comment below. Be sure to tune in next week when there will be plenty to cheer us about.
Stop filming me, you're objectifying my body.
What's your
How
impression?
much grey hair I've got my head in now because of you?
Scariest bridge ever. You hear it shake.